Let it be set down plainly for any who would understand the age they live in. Understand first the single truth on which all the rest depends, that magic is not a constant thing. It is a tide. It rises and it falls, across ages measured not in years, but in thousands of years. The scholars of the old world, piecing together what fragments survived, counted 6 such ages, 6 worlds, each defined by how much magic ran through it. In some, the world brimmed with power, and dragons and spirits walked in the open. In others, the tide drew out so far that magic vanished from living memory, dismissed as the dream of superstitious minds. We live in the 6th of these ages, and to understand how it began, you must first understand the age that came before, the age that believed it was the whole of history. That age, the 5th, was an age of the lowest ebb. It was our grandparents' world, an age of reason and machines, which had looked into every corner it could reach and found no magic there, and so concluded there was none. Dragons were bedtime stories. Elves were ornaments in children's tales. The world was cold and knowable and proud of its knowing. It was also dying, though it did not yet know it. The old world had grown vast and crowded beyond reckoning, and into that crowd came a sickness. They named it VITAS. It was a cruelty of the body's own making, the flesh turning against itself, the throat swelling closed so that its victims drowned on dry land with no water in sight. It moved through the crowded cities like fire through dry grass. And when at last it burned out, near 1 in every 4 people on earth was dead. The proud, rational world had been humbled, and it did not yet know that its humbling had only begun. The first sign of what was coming was so quiet that no one understood it as a sign at all. Children began to be born who were not quite like their parents. Some had ears drawn to delicate points. Some were small and broad and strangely strong. The physicians, being physicians, reached for their instruments and their charts and gave the thing a suitably bloodless name, unexplained genetic expression. They studied the blood and the bone, searching for the mechanism, and they were looking in precisely the wrong place. For the answer was not written in the genome. It was written in the oldest stories humanity had ever told, the stories of elves and dwarves, and the fair folk said to have lived alongside us in ages past. The children were not a disease. They were a memory, returning. And then came the night that ended all doubt. Mark the date, for it is the hinge on which the whole of modern history turns. The 24th of December in the year 2011. On that night, above the slopes of Mount Fuji, a great dragon rose into the air, coiled and vast and impossibly real, and flew the length of a speeding train while 100 passengers watched and cameras carried the sight to every corner of the world. Consider what that meant. A civilization that had spent centuries teaching itself that dragons were fantasy watched one fly in the glare of its own headlines. The tide of magic had returned, and the world would come to call that return the awakening. In a single night, the 5th world ended, and the 6th world, our world, began. But what precisely had returned? The name given to it is mana. and it is best understood not as a thing, but as a kind of energy, invisible, everywhere, welling up through the world like water rising through soil. Where it is thin, little magic is possible. Where it runs deep, wonders and horrors become real. And its level, across the sixth world, has been rising ever since. Most people cannot touch it at all, but a rare few can, and these we call the awakened. Some study magic as the old world studied science, learning to shape mana through will and formula. We call them mages. Others do not command the power so much as ask it, communing with the spirits that dwell within it. These are the shamans. And still others turn the magic inward, burning it as fuel for the body until they move faster, strike harder, and endure far more than any ordinary human alive. With mana, a healer can knit a wound closed in seconds, and a killer can stop a heart from across a room. It is the single greatest power in the sixth world, and, as we shall see, it is not the only one. For a decade, the changed children remained a curiosity, and then, in the year 2021, the tide rose again, and this time it did not spare the grown. They called it Goblinization, and it came without mercy or warning. A man or a woman, ordinary one morning, would be seized by an agony that lasted hours or days as the body remade itself from within. Bones lengthening, skin thickening, tusks and horns breaking through, some near doubling in size before it was done. Those who survived it rose as orcs and as trolls. Understand what this cost. It was not only pain. It was a man looking into a mirror and no longer finding himself. A family that no longer knew its own. And from that agony came a hard new truth. That humanity had never been one people, but many, and would have to learn, or fail to learn, to share the world. We call ourselves, all of us now, Metahumanity, but a new name does not undo an old fear. In too many places, that fear curdled into hatred. There were nights of open violence against the changed, and there remain, even now, those who would see the sixth world scoured of everyone who is not human. The oldest wound of the old world had simply found new flesh to open in. Return now to the dragons, for they are far more than the monsters of the old tales. A great dragon is not a beast. It is a mind older than human civilization, that slept through the long, low age when magic could not sustain it, and woke with the rising tide sharper and hungrier than anything humanity has ever bargained with. They are patient beyond mortal patience, and wealthy beyond mortal counting, and they do not conquer the sixth world with fire. They buy it. Ryumyo of Mount Fuji was merely the first to be seen, but consider the one called Dunkelsan, a great dragon who did not lurk at the edges of power, but ran for the highest office of one of the world's mightiest nations and won it. He was elected, and on the very night of his inauguration, he was assassinated. Even in death, he reshaped the world, for the vast fortune he left behind was set to work by his will in ways that echo to this day. Nor is he the strangest of them. The single largest corporation on the face of the earth answers at its very summit to a dragon named Lofwer. Which brings us to the true sovereigns of this age. For the sixth world is not ruled by kings, nor by presidents, nor by the parliaments of nations. It is ruled by the Megacorporations. And to understand the sixth world at all, you must understand this, that at some point, the great corporations stopped being businesses that lived under the law of the lands they occupied and became laws unto themselves. The word for it is extraterritoriality, a cold, bureaucratic word for an extraordinary thing. It means that the ground a megacorporation owns is, in every meaningful sense, its own sovereign country, its own laws, its own courts, its own armies. Step inside a corporate arcology, a single building grown so vast it holds an entire city, where hundreds of thousands are born, live, labor, and die without ever needing to leave. And you have left your nation behind as surely as if you had crossed an ocean. A mere handful of these giants hold more power than most governments left on Earth. They do not answer to you. In the sixth world, far more often, you answer to them. This is the true engine of the world's darkness. Not that magic returned, but that it returned into the hands of powers answerable to no one. And over all of it lies another world entirely, one made not of mana, but of light and information. They call it the Matrix. It is the descendant of the old world's internet, grown into a full and immersive reality. One a person does not merely look at, but enters, jacking the mind directly into a globe-spanning ocean of data and walking through it as though through a place. Those who plunder its depths for secrets are the Deckers, the hackers of the sixth world, and stolen information is the coin they trade in. Twice, this wired world has died. The first time, an engineered plague of code tore through it and killed not only the machines, but many of the minds still linked to them. The second death, in the year 2064, remade the Matrix without wires at all. And in the chaos of its rebirth, the megacorporations closed their hands around it and have not let go. For in the sixth world, whoever holds the flow of information holds a power to rival magic itself. So consider, at the last, the world that all of this has made. A world of endless neon and falling rain, where sovereign corporations tower over sprawling cities, where dragons sit upon boards of directors, where magic and machine have grown up tangled together, and where the many peoples of metahumanity crowd shoulder to shoulder in an uneasy peace. And in the gaps of that world, in the places the corporations and the law cannot officially reach, move the shadows, the deniable ones, the men and women who take the jobs no power will admit to needing done. The Shadowrunners. It is a world that runs more than it would ever confess on people who do not officially exist. This has been the shape of how it came to be. An age of wonders and of monsters, and too often the two have worn the same face. Remember only this, you who would understand the age you live in. The tide that woke the world had slept for a long age before it rose, and a tide by its nature turns again.